Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Romanos 8:28. Can you read it, Abby?
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose.
Que en español dice, y sabemos que todas las cosas ayudan a bien a los que aman a Dios, a los que conforme a su propósito son llamados. Amen. With this words of mine, we're going to go kneel down so we can have a prayer. Sister, Brother Dave, you got us a prayer?
I don't know.
Okay, Sister Brooks.
Father, in heaven, thank you for this day, Lord. We ask how we have this service. Please send the Holy Spirit for us to understand the message that you have for us this morning. We pray all this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Now we're going to ask Sister Lily to help us collect the tithes and offerings. Lily, can you help us? Come. Benji, do it. Thank you, Brother Benji. Now let's stand up so we can pray for these tithes and offerings. We're praying. Sister Daisy, do you pray right? Que usted, hermano Arzal.
Bendito buen Padre que está en las alturas de los cielos, santificado y glorificado sea su nombre. Le damos gracias, Señor, en este santo sábado y le pedimos, Señor, que quiera bendecir estos días nuestras ofrendas, que sean para honra de su gloria, que bendiga a todos nuestros hermanos en la ancha faz de la tierra, obreros, pastores y constructores que esparcen su palabra. En el nombre de Cristo Jesús te lo pedimos. Amén.
Amén. Thank you. Okay, happy Sabbath to everyone. Today we want to read the story of this brave man in the Bible that start with the letter J. J. Joseph, right? All of us we know this story about Joseph, but we're just gonna pass. We're gonna just recap, about how is that he become faithfully, even under the really bad circumstances, he can overcome, with everything. If you guys check the verse that we just read in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, what we learn from there? What the Bible verse is telling us there?
That if we love and trust God faithfully, eventually works out.
Yeah. Yeah. So over here says, right, that if we obey God, if we love God, even bad things that can happen to us is going to help us. uh, every day is different, right? Every day is different, God bless us, and He protect us from many dangers. But sometimes uh, bad things happen to us. Like, I don't know, maybe you get sick, or you don't pass an exam, at school, or you get mad with your parents or with your brother, and you get in trouble with somebody. Every day is different, right? But all those things, that they happen to us, if we obey the Lord, all those things, they're gonna help us for good. Can you believe that? Do you think when something bad happened to you is for good?
I'm growing into that more
Uh-huh.
because I know the little bit I've dealt with, but things can happen today even it can throw me off. So we grow and as we learn from the past, we can learn for the future.
We live in this country, right? Uh, have you ever passed one day? Let me ask you this question. Have you ever passed one day without eat anything? Besides, when you fast, Have you ever passed one day without anything because it was no food at your house? I don't think so, right? Even me in Mexico, right? I was okay. I mean, all the time, it was something to eat. Uh, no, a lot of variety, no, a lot of different, foods. But normally, we have beans, rice, potatoes. You like potatoes? Yeah, they're good, huh? Yeah, I like potatoes too. But there are some countries uh, that they don't know much fruits. Right? There are some countries, that they are really poor countries, that they don't have, all the variety. Actually, when I came over here to the United States, uh, where I am from in Mexico, it's kind of like a desert area, right? And the states that they are around, normally they are, like a desert states. So we don't have, much of the tropical fruits, right? Tell me one of the tropical fruits, Brother Jared.
Dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit, right? When I came over here, I know the dragon fruit. That was my first time, when I see it in the market. I was over there and they were like, oh, what is this? What is this? Oh, wow, oh. Different, foods that we have there. Uh, but well, I present this illustration, right, because where Joseph born, it was the desert. So over there in the desert, they survive, from the cattle, right? They survive, from the cattle mainly, right? They have goats, they have sheep, and they have calves. Now, uh, it doesn't rain much, right? So they can get, a lot of, of the cattle, like, when there's a lot of rain and a lot of food, a lot of grass, a lot of hay, for the cattle, they reproduce faster, right? And they are fat, and they are, healthy. But remember where the, Joseph was from, it was kind of like a desert area. So they don't have, much cattle. That's why, they protected so much, from the other animals, right? The coyotes, or any, bears or different stuff. Uh, the same happened with with the life of David. Remember, how he said, that he was defending, the sheep from the bear or from a lion. Remember? He killed a bear, right? And a lion.
Uh-huh.
Can you imagine? Do you think you can confront, a lion? We run away after the lion or the bear, we just let them eat. But that this was the case, from these young men, that they had to take care of the cattle, of the sheep, different, right? The goats. Have you ever take care of a goat in your life? We did, huh? The goats, they're kind of like they're very hard to keep them in one place. They like to jump, they like to run, and then you try to go, to get them, they run faster. This video was just really hard to kill them. The sheep, they're different. The sheep, they're more like a more calm. They run, but they don't go too far. And one kind of like a weird thing, from the ships is that when they got lost, guess what they do?
They're lost.
They got lost. So what they do? What happened when you got lost? Let's say that you got lost in the middle of the desert. What you do?
Why? What? Forgot.
Probably you cry.
I would see if there's like any mountains nearby and I'd walk towards that.
Okay. So that's why always we got to kind of like know in certain way in what point there you can be, right? So like let's say Brother Jared or you David, we are over here, right? This building. What direction is right here?
Stop.
I have it for them. I have it for them. Okay, so this is south, right? So in what direction from the California city, Lancaster is at? What direction? South, right? So Lancaster, it can be kind of like a south, a little bit. Yeah, we want to say south, right? Because still at the south. Uh, uh, it's very important, for you guys to know, where your city is located, right? Because if for some reason, you got a car accident or something that you don't know where to go, what the street, you got to take, this way is gonna be easy. The California city, right? This street right here, it runs from where to where? Daisy?
It keeps on going.
Yeah, yeah.
A
It,
bridge.
it, it runs from what point to what point? Northwest,
From
east,
east to west.
east to west, right? Yeah. This is east, this is west, it goes straight like that. Back in the days, the people, how you think they know where they are? They don't have, the maps. Or maybe they do, but not like us. Right now, we have everything in the computer, even in your phone, right? Even in your phone, you just say, okay, Lancaster, boom, right there. And it tells you, the route that you have to take, to take you there. That's some knowledge that people, in the past, they had to learn. They had to actually, write it down to say, okay, this is the city, this is over there. That's how, Joseph, in that time, he grew up. Okay, so let's go to the book of Genesis. We're gonna read a couple verses over there. 37.
37, capítulo 37.
Sí, capítulo 37. Okay, let's start reading from here from you, brother Adam.
Okay.
Genesis 37, 1 through 3.
Okay, Genesis 1 through 37, 1 through 3. Now Jacob dwelled in the land where his father was stranger in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding flocks with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age.
Okay, that's it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yes. I'm sorry, I thought you finished. Hmm.
Also, he made him a tunic of many colors.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so who was Joseph's father? Jacob or Israel, right? And who was his mother? You guys remember who was his mother? Rachel, right? Or Raquel. Okay, and he has, two different brothers, from actually four different moms, right? Because Joseph, he married, Too many, four of them, right? Uh, so what happened with this with his brothers? They're good brothers.
They were rough.
They're rough, right? They're really bad brothers. You know, they do really evil. You know, and Joseph, he told he always was telling his father the truth about his other sons, his brothers. Really bad things. I don't know what they do, but they're really bad. But Joseph, Israel, or in this case, we can say also Jacob. Jacob, he said that he loved Joseph more than who? More than the other. Why? Why do you think Jacob he loved more Joseph than the other ones?
Because originally, and all through the story, really, he was more in love with Joseph's mother than all the rest of the wives.
Okay. And also he said because he was the youngest one, right? He was the last one, the last, we can say, the baby one. And, oh yeah, but later, después de... ¿Sí estaba ahí? Okay, so why do you think, Jacob, he loves more Joseph?
Yo pienso que lo quería más porque su mamá se murió cuando nació
Benjamin.
I think that Jacob loved Joseph more because his wife had already died in childbirth, giving birth to his younger brother Benjamin.
Aparte que él era con quien él se quería casar. Se dio engaño y le dieron a la otra hermana.
That Rachel was the one he wanted to get married to all along, but only by her father's issue, he gave him Leah as well.
Okay, so let's go to verse 4, hermana Rosalba, 4, 5 y 6.
And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hid in a cold not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brothers, and they hid him yet the more. And he said unto them, Here I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed.
Okay, 7, 8 y 9 dice.
For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheep stood round about, and made obeisance, thank you, to my sheep. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have to lean over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars made obeisance to me. Thank you.
Okay, 10, 11, and 12, Abby.
And he made the table of shittim wood.
No.
37:10. Genesis 37:10. 37.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed the father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Heal them.
Okay, you're into 12, right?
13.
30. ¿Cuál sigue el 13?
14.
14. Let me see. Brother Gerald, can you read 14 through 16?
Yes. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shepherth. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seeketh thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. How far?
Right there. That's good. Okay, who's next? Danis or Phoebe? 17 through 19.
And the man said, They have departed from here, for I say them say, I hear them say, Let us go to Dothan.
Joseph?
Dothan. So Joseph went after his brother and found them in Dothan. Now when they saw him afar off, even before he came near him, they
Describe.
conspired against him to kill him. Then they said to one another, Look, now this ring us.
Okay, 20, 21, and 22. Danny?
Therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into the pit. And in this way, some wild beast has devoured him. We shall see what will become of his dreams. But Reuben heard it, and he drew him out of their heads, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said to them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay hand on him, that he might be delivered him out of the hand, and bring him back to his father.
Okay, 23 to 25.
And it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites from Gilead, with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
Okay, 26 and 20, 26 to 28. David? 26 to 28.
Alright. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us kill him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh, and his brethren were content. Then there passed by the Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt.
Okay. Jared, 29 to 32. Jared, can you read 29 to 31?
And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed the feet of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood.
Okay. 32, 34, brother Adam, 32 to 34.
Okay, 32 to 34. Then they sent a tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, We have found this. Do you know wherever it is your son's tunic or not? And he recognized it and said, It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn into pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put on
35 and 36 or something.
35. And now his son and all his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him unto the Egypt, unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, and captain of the war. God.
Okay, so we can see, what happened, to Joseph. Who did this evil thing to him?
His brother.
His brothers. Can you imagine? They actually, they tried to kill him, right? They tried to kill him. So that can tell you, how bad, his brothers. They say, when they saw, Joseph that it was coming to them, all of them, they tried to kill him. Now, we learn something from this, from Reuben. Did Reuben try to kill him?
No,
Why? Why he doesn't want to kill him?
because he was his brother.
Yeah, he was his blood brother, right? And in certain way we can say also that he he was not there when his brothers sold him, right? Reuben wasn't there, right? Because when they sold him, to the Israelites. When they sold him, to the Ishmaelites, for how many pieces of silver?
20.
20, right? They sold him, for that. Reuben wasn't there, so he thought that Joseph is still in the well, that he was, inside, and he came try to find him, and he wasn't there. And when he can find him, he was sad. He got scared. He said, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" He was the oldest one, and he was kind of like a certain way responsible, for everybody, right? Especially, the youngest. So, and he asked, his brothers, "Hey, where is the boy? Where's the child?" Did they tell him the truth?
The other two.
No, they don't tell him.
Oh,
His brothers, they don't tell Reuben what they did with Joseph. They don't tell Reuben that they sold him. Yeah, you guys read,
Le llevaron la túnica de José llena de sangre.
uh-huh. So all of them, they said, okay, we don't know what happened to him. But they say, okay, why are we gonna tell, to my father? And they invent, a story. Have you ever invent a story?
no.
Yes, right. Sometimes, my brother. Oh, why you laugh? No, no. Sometimes, we invent, okay, what happened with the cat? Where is the cat? And then probably, you forget the cat, in the other house or something. And then, we invent, a story. Oh, well, I don't know. She ran away. Sometimes, we say we lie. But that's not right. Because one lie, it takes you to what? To another lie, right? Yeah. How that happened? And then you have to say, oh, I don't know. Maybe a crow or eagle took it. We don't have to do that. But in this case, they try to make think his father that a beast, a lion or a bear, something killed him, right? And they found only the ¿cómo se dice la túnica? The
You're right.
tunic, right? So sad. Can you imagine, as a father, to receive, these bad news?
That's hard for you.
It was really hard, especially, for him because he was already old. He was old already. And they brought this, to Jacob, and he was really sad. But now the Midianites, they let me see.
Ishmaelites
Well, in verse 20, 27, he said that it was the Ismailites. But in 36, he said the Madianites.
You're right.
So I don't know where, I don't know how that happened, the transition right there from one to the others. But
It isn't that the tribe was with the Ishmaelites, Midianites who saw them in Egypt.
yes, yes, yes. They sold him to what's the name? Potiphar, right?
But he couldn't
Right,
pass.
right.
They
The
can pass it, yeah.
Ishmaelites took him there to the Midianites instead of
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna skip chapter 38 because that's a different story. We're gonna go to verse 39. In chapter 39. Um, Genesis chapter 39. Okay, so let's read now the other way. Start with Jared over here. Genesis 39. Genesis 39, 1 and 2.
And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him out of the hand of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian.
Okay. Let's stop for a little bit right here. So now Joseph, right, from being, in his father's house, now he's sold, as a what?
Slave.
As a slave. Can you imagine that? You know, he from days past, and now he's a slave. But God, he said that he was with him. How you think that? Why you think God was with Joseph? Why? Remember, he was 17. How old are you? How old are you? 17, right? Very young, right? But he was obedient. He was faithful to God, and God blessed him, right? So verse 2 said, but the Lord was with Joseph, and he made him prosper in everything that he did. Okay, let's 3 and 4, David.
Okay. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer of his house and all that he had put into his land.
Wow, can you imagine? Now, Joseph, he become a what? Like a steward, right? From Potiphar. He was very faithful, and even Potiphar, he knows that God was with him, right? And everything that he did, he will always prosper. Now, so he put upon now all his house. 3 and 4, right? 5 and 6, Brooks.
And it came to pass in the time that he had made him overseer in his house, over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, but he knew not what he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored.
Wow, God continue blessing, right? 7 and 8, Daniel.
7 and 8. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife had found Isaac told Joseph, and she said, are you accused against your master's wife? Look, my master said no that is with me in the house, and he has lifted all that he is in my hand.
Okay, 9 and 10, Evie.
39 and 10.
Chapter 39, verse 9 and 10.
Those gone greater in his house than I. Why has he kept back anything from me for you? Because you are his wife. How can how then can I do his great wickedness and sin against God? So it was as he spoke to Joseph day by day that he did not heed either to lie with her or to be with her.
Okay, and I'll be 11 and 12.
And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house but him. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her head, and fled, and got him out.
Okay, 13 and 14 days.
And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and she was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house, and spake this to them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me with me, and he came unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice.
Okay, 15 and 16, Brother Gerard. Sorry, I forgot you. 15 and 16.
And it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with him, and fled, and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home.
Okay, Sister Rosalba.
And she spake unto
7.
and she spake unto him according to this word, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, and I lifted up my voice and cried, and he left his garment with me, and threw it out.
19 and 20, Brother Anna.
Okay, so it was when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, Your servant did to me after this manner, that his anger was aroused. Then Joseph's master took him and on it, put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison.
Okay, 21 and 22. Gerard.
But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did therein with the doer of peace.
23. 23.
The keeper of the prison looked not into anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
Okay, thank you. We want to stop here. Well, there's more chapter about, but we can read those later. So we can, what we can learn, from this that happened to Joseph. Remember, he was a kid. He was 17 when his brothers sold him, and he ended in Egypt as a slave, right? But what happened to him over there in Egypt?
He was a slave to being in the prison.
Uh-huh. So he was faithful, right, to his master, right, Potiphar. That Potiphar he blessed. Uh, he put him, upon everything at his house, everything. He was basically, in charge of everything. But then, something happened with his wife. What happened with this with Potiphar's wife? What she tried to do?
She lacked loyalty to her husband. She wasn't loyal to Potiphar.
Uh-huh.
And so she wanted to do things that she was a married woman. She should didn't get considered.
She tried to get Joseph, right?
You're right.
But Joseph, why do you think he didn't do that?
He had character.
Why do you think Joseph he refused to do that?
Because he knew what God wanted him to do,
Mhm.
and he ran for it.
Yeah. So he knows, everything that is right. His mother teaching good, right, about everything. And she told him, please, when you grow up, you have to be very careful, right? Because, uh, life, is very dangerous sometimes, especially, when we talk, about, husband and wife, right? What do you think, Potiphar's wife, she tried to get Joseph? Why? She was not faithful. She was not right, to her as a husband, right? Did she need anything from there? Do you think she was poor or nothing? No, she had everything, everything, because she was, one of the biggest, people, in Egypt. And but Joseph, he refused, and he doesn't want to do it. And she was always every day, trying to get Joseph, but he said no, I don't want to do it, this. And actually Joseph told her, right, I don't want to be doing this because I am very faithful to my master, to Potiphar, your husband, right? He told her. But then she invented a story. What happened? You remember what happened?
She lied.
She lied, right? And she tried to get Joseph, and he ran away. But she get, the part of the clothes, and then she cried, "Oh, help, help! He tried to get me." But it was a lie, right? It was a lie. Eventually, in the next chapter, we're gonna find out. But for this time, uh, sadly, they put Joseph into prison. Potiphar, he believed, his wife, and he put him, at the prison. Yes, Brother Jerry?
I read in the spirit of prophecy, Potiphar didn't actually believe his wife. Because he had to take Joseph's character all the way out.
Yeah.
But the reason that he puts Joseph in prison to save face for his household.
Yeah.
But he knew his wife lied to that man.
Because if he would have been guilty, he would have killed him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have put him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in that time, when you do something evil like this, they kill you right away.
Right.
They just get, the sword and cut your head right there. That's what, the laws, back in the days it was like, okay, you did this, now you got to get killed. But Potiphar, in certain way, he tried to save Joseph, right? That's why he put him into prison,
Right.
right? And another thing, I'm pretty sure he knows his wife.
Right.
You don't think so? I'm pretty sure, she was his wife. And as a brother, David, Jared, he knows you. Sister Rosalba knows Daisy, or Sister Rosalba, knows Brother Marco. All of us, in a close circle, we know each other, right? And Potiphar, he know that his wife, he was not 100% faithful. That's why he said, okay, you say that, but I don't know. I don't wanna put, you in trouble, expose, to everybody. But to just to make sure, I just wanna put him in prison, right? Just to double check. And eventually, we know, the truth. But we're gonna stop here for today. We're gonna try to memorize, what happened to him, and also, so we can learn that, even, when things they turn, in our wrong will, everything, goes bad. God still has a plan for you,
Amen.
even when everything is the other way. May God bless us. That's my wish and prayer. Amen. Let's see. This is going to be 256 in Spanish, 581.